Hey everyone, this is Jake with My Bringback, continuing our series with the iPad iPhone app development. And as you guys have maybe seen in the past videos, if you haven't, go back and check them out. We went over kind of the installing the Xcode, the interface to actually build the application with the iOS SDK, and then also went over the Xcode 4, kind of the overview, where to find stuff, just a basic springboard to actually diving into what we're going to do next is building into these components and understanding each individual function of the Xcode 4. So what we're going to do today is actually run through the UI, the user interface, building that UI with the interface builder, and then the next tutorial series is how do we hook that up so it actually has some functionality within your iPad and your iPhone applications. So where we're at is you guys have launched a new project. We are basically going off the view-based template right now. There's a lot we can add into it. There's a lot we can go from. But the view-based application, you've got one view. And this one view is basically, right now as you guys selected, it's the iPad view. So you can see our application right now is called Bringer. So the preloaded view-based has generated the header. You've got the .m and then a .xib, which is going to be, it's basically an XML file that has a nice interface builder that we're going to work through today. So go ahead and click into your viewcontroller.xib with your name here. Whether you name it Bringer, whether you name it something else, that could be a little bit different on your case. But as you can see, we've launched into the interface builder, which is basically the iPad screen in the middle here in our work area. So you can scroll down and we've got the whole screen in front of us, ready for whatever we want to put into it. So what we're going to go through is we're going to go through and put in just a simple calculator, because a calculator gives us a few variables. It's going to have some fields, some buttons, and some labels to just give us a little bit of what this can actually, the Xcode 4 and the iOS SDK is capable of. So where we're going to start is actually building it again in the interface builder here. So as you guys have launched the XIB, you should have your workspace in front of you. And then over to the right, you can see, as we went over in the overview, we've got our objects library and then attributes. Really important that those are open. So if you haven't opened it already, go ahead and click this far right and swing that toolbar out. So basic calculator, we're looking at a couple fields, a couple buttons. So let's go ahead and start with the buttons. And if you're running through the objects, if you're familiar with them, you'll see, it should be the second one in, you'll see a round rectangular button. Go ahead and either drag that onto your screen and place it where you want, etc. We're going to put ours about midway down, and we're going to make it a little bit bigger by dragging one of the arrows. Very simple to actually make stuff, change it, etc. And now we're going to put a title on this button, because if there's no title, nobody really has any direction to what it's going to do. So we're going to double click and actually write the word calculate within that button. So we're going to have a calculate function, and then we're also going to have a clear function. So after they calculate it, they want to clear the fields and start over, put some more values in there to calculate, etc. So we're actually going to make another button. You can either do the same thing by dragging the button over, or you can simply just take another button, copy and paste it, maybe resize it to a different size, and then change the title. Again, you can double click to change the title, or another way is to highlight the button, go up to your attributes up here, click your attributes, and you'll see title, and you can simply change it to clear, etc., whatever your title is. So we've got our two buttons. Great. As you highlight your buttons, just to keep you aware, you can change text color, fonts, there's a bunch of different options in here depending on what you're doing, alignment, all that. So just to note that as you guys are building more complex things. Alright, so then we gotta have two input fields for them to put their values or whatever they're gonna input for future applications. So as you guys see, you'll see a text field. If you highlight over it, you'll see a text field, which is user interface text field, and you can read a little bit about it there. I've simply dragged one over, and then I'm going to go ahead and resize it a little bit, and then we're going to do the same thing, just copy and pasting that text field. So we can give them maybe 2. You could even do more complex calculators with 4 or 5 fields calculating different values. So now we've got our text fields in place that they can simply put the values in, and then the goal is that they'll click calculate, and then we need some kind of label to actually show the calculation, the result of the calculation. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to post a label out there, and you'll see label clearly labeled for you. Double click, take the value out of there. We're going to make this a little bit bigger because we want that to stand out as far as the value. Make sure it's selected. What we're going to do is we're going to throw a background color. So as you can see the view here, let's make that a nice little orange. Or they call it a cantaloupe. That's a nice name there. Alright, so we're done with the colors menu for now. But one of the other things is maybe we want to make the font just a little bit bigger on this as it's displayed. So you can click the font there. Instead of a 17, maybe we'll go with a 24. Close out of that, and then we're going to center the actual value that it comes out. So as you can see, there's different functions over here that you can use. It doesn't have to be exactly this thing here. But then we're going to take another label here, drop it down, and then we'll just put total in there so people know what this box is for. Maybe put another one in here, label that equals, center that out there, and then put it right in between. As you can see, we've got those guider lines that are definitely helping us out as far as keeping stuff uniform, making it look clean, crisp, and going forward with that. So now we've got input field, value plus value equals total, which should display here. One other thing is we should show the users what they're actually calculating. So maybe put another label in here, and we'll simply add a plus sign, center that value, and then put it right in the middle of those two right there. Alright, so far we've got our buttons, our label, 2 text field, but maybe we should come up with some kind of title up here, and throw that up here just to give a little clarity. Simple calc for the lazy. Alright, not saying anyone out there is lazy, but might be classifying myself in that. Alright, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so it shows people, here we are. This is the lazy calc for everyone. Alright, so far so good. We got a clear title, we got some clear direction as the user opens up the application, and really happy with what we've got so far. So now we're just going to run it to see what it looks on the application. Keep in mind we haven't connected anything as far as what these buttons are going to do, what these fields are going to do, what the output are going to be, and that's going to be the next tutorial series. But we've got the user interface built, which step in the right direction. So now that you've got it built, go ahead and run your application, and what you'll see is the iOS simulator like I showed you in the previous video launching, and you can see exactly what your app looks like. Simple calc for the lazy. You can actually click in these and write stuff, calculate stuff. Will be next round, but we can put in values right now. You can click calculate. It's not going to do a thing right now because it's not hooked up in anything. So we've got our basic functionality and what we're looking at, and so next we'll go into actually connecting the buttons, connecting the fields, and getting our calculator working. So as you guys see, it's definitely an easy working step, but we're going to take steps towards actually understanding Xcode and the individual components. So I will catch you next tutorial.